What's up, guys? It is JZNES back again with another video. Today we're talking Rocket Knight Adventures for the Sega Genesis. The Sega Genesis, as some people would know it as. But, to answer the question right away, is it a gem or not? It's a gem! It's a gem! It is, though. It's quite a gem. Anyway, so this is Rocket Knight Adventures for the Sega as I say Genesis again. The Sega Genesis. The way I learned about this game was from the HVGN review back in the day. That was, God, probably 10 or so years ago, at least. Probably longer than that. Probably like 11 or 12 years ago when that came out. But yeah, I mean, I don't think I had, like, I didn't see it when it was new or anything, but the HVGN, now known as Stop Skeletons from Fighting, the Happy Video Game Nerds, what it used to be known as, and Derek Alexander, he's my favorite, pretty much YouTuber, and very inspirational to my review style, especially with those JZNES, the highly edited JZNES videos. That's what I was trying to take on the mantle of. I mentioned that all, I think, in my top 100 games video there. So go check that out if you want the whole story on that. But I do remember seeing this game as one of his reviews, and he loved this game, and I love this game too, because this game is awesome. And I don't know if it's still as underrated as it was then. I think it still is, for the most part. I know that they made a remake or something, and it was pretty decent. And there's still two other games I got to do, Sparkster, and then there was some kind of Genesis version. A second Genesis game, I believe. So, Sparkster was the Super Nintendo game, if I remember correctly. But I am looking forward to playing both of those as well, because this game was really, really good. So, yeah, so what's good about this game? Well, pretty much everything. Let's talk what's bad about this game. There's only one bad thing about the game, as far as I can approximate here, which is the fact that the continue system, not even the continue system, there's limited continue, so, like, you know my thoughts on that, like, whatever. I don't really like that, especially back in the day. It was so you have to kind of beat the whole game in one go with 3 credits, or 5 credits if you turn it on, like, really easy, what do they call it, child mode or whatever. You get 5 credits. And then, like, hard mode gives you, like, less credits or something. And in the Japanese mode, normal is 5 credits, so, like, what the fuck? Why I didn't just play it with the 5 credits doesn't make a lot of sense to me, but I didn't really need them. Okay, so what I ended up doing, and you can crucify me in the comments, Jay-Z's not a real gamer, but I save stated a lot. You know, and that's not because, like, I wanted to ruin the gaming experience for myself. It's because having to continue and play the same levels again and again and again, even though I pretty much did that anyway, I would save at the beginning of a level. But if you die, 90% of the time, you just go back to the beginning of the level anyway. So what I did was I would save at certain intervals. You know, I would save if right before a boss or something. That way, because there's so many bosses in this game. And there's a lot of times when they expect you to do a lot of insane shit. So I would just save, like, before a boss and then fight it that way. So yeah, I use save states, alright? Like, kill me or whatever. All I wanted to do was use the level select code to not have to use save states, right? But in the American version, the level select code doesn't exist. In the Japanese version, they have it, and in the European version, they have it. But we Americans don't get a level select code, which is a bunch of bullshit. So that's the biggest criticism right there, is that they took out the level select for no reason whatsoever. So that's really dumb, and I don't like that. That's the one thing I probably don't like about the game. Other things, other than that, it's just the continue system. That's it. Just that there's limited lives and continues. Not even limited lives. I don't mind that so much. I mean, I guess I mind that. Just like limited continues. Like if there's a live system, that's fine. To like make you have to go back to the beginning of the stage or something. Like you get a few lives before you have to do that, and then checkpoints in between, which is how it works. That's okay. I'm okay with that as long as you give me unlimited continues, because I don't want to have to play the whole game again and again and again and again just to get to that point to where... Because if I had to do that, this game would have been a lot worse. But I didn't do that, and I'm not going to count that against the game because everybody else has a level select code but us. So I realistically could have played the Japanese version. They changed the sprite on the Japanese version or something. I was a little bit like, I don't want to play with the cutesy sprite or whatever. I want my Sparkster to be badass or whatever. I don't know. He's still cute anyway, but like, I don't know. I just like the American sprite better, so I said, fuck it. I'm going to play the American version. I'll just save state. It's no big deal. I just want to make it through the game. And I'm fine with that. I'm glad I did that. I know, it's like, what? The last review, I'm like, it doesn't matter that I didn't beat the game. The review before that was like, it doesn't matter that I like did, what was the other thing that was easy? I don't remember. Oh yeah, I mean, well, okay, with Dragon Quest 2, it wasn't my fault. The game, like, the save died, so I, like, couldn't do anything about that other than play the game all over again, so it's like, yeah, like, okay, you can argue with me about beating the game or whatever, Super Mario Land 2 or whatever, but I still stand by what I said there. And I beat this game, so fuck it. I don't even care. If you want to count save states against it or whatever, fuck that. I used to use save states as a kid, you know? And those were the good days, man. And a game like this is only made better, I would say, with save states. It doesn't really take that much of the challenge out. You're still doing all of the actions to get there. You still have to beat the game. You just get better... It's a better checkpoint system, almost, you know, if you want to think of it like that. And you get unlimited tries. So it's almost just like me fixing the problem that the game had to begin with. So there you go. So now let's stop talking about negative. This is a great game, so let's talk about the great things about the game. Well, the gameplay is fucking really solid, and it works really well. And you know what? I'm not the biggest fan of... I don't know what it is with me and 16-bit controllers, but I'm not the biggest fan... my Genesis is like right over there, by the way. I'm not the biggest fan of the Genesis controller. It's just like too big, and like the D-pad is really weird because they couldn't use the Nintendo D-pad, and like the big buttons are really strange. I wouldn't have wanted to use this to beat this game anyway. So when I had to switch over to emulation, of course I got the classic PS4 controller here. I mapped the jump and then attack button, and then this was the C button here, and then like the start button or whatever. So, and these were all the other buttons, but you never use those. So yeah, that was actually, no, I used the options as the start button. But anyway, this works really well, and I like the D-pad on the PS4 better because it's the D-pad from the PS3 and all the other systems. It just works really well for a game like this, and I think that speaks volumes to this controller in general. And everyone's gonna be like, well, you hate the Super Nintendo controller, this is just a modified version. And I'm like, yeah, but it's better, okay? It's the reason that they modified it to make it better, because time made it better. This is a really, really good controller, and I like the PS3 controller a lot too, but, you know, this is... It's a contender. Is this better? Is that better? You know, it's just up to preference. I like the PS3 one, but this is a great controller as well. And it is great for this game. So, and lots of retro games. Me and my friend have been playing through Majora's Mask, and this actually works pretty solid. The only weird part is I mapped the C buttons to the analog stick here, so there's some times where it doesn't work out so hot, or you have to hold the analog stick to like use your bow and arrow or whatever, so it's like a little odd there, but we're not talking about that. We're talking about this. So, Rocket Knight Adventure. Why is the gameplay awesome? Well, it controls really well, and you have this, so you have a sword. That's always good. You can swing your sword, and that's a really, you know, kinetic and awesome attack. You know, you gotta love sword attacks. But if you charge yourself, you can do one of a few things. You can do an attack where your sword like spins if you don't hold the direction. But if you hold the direction, you could take off with your jetpack, and you can like zoom all the way everywhere. And this is like a great mechanic for the game, because this is the whole gimmick of the game, is it's Rocket Knight Adventures. He's got a jetpack, and you like go, and if you run into enemies while you're doing that, that'll count as a hit, and you're invincible when you're like charged up doing that. So often it's about charging and then like going into your enemies, but certain enemies you also just really have to slash fast and whatnot. So it's a simple but like cool system for combat, which is great. It's a great combat system, a great gameplay. The movement feels really good and kinetic. The jumping feels really nice. It's weird, like in the last stage only, as far as I could tell. I don't remember any other stage like this. By the way, I played this all yesterday, and then I played the last stage today, and that's the only thing I played today was the last stage. But I remember everything from yesterday, because I played it all yesterday. Anyway, point is, there's this like gravity gimmick for the jumping, like you're on the moon or whatever, I assume, or it's like moon gravity jumping. I don't know that you are on the moon, but in these certain spots, the jumping, and even on the final boss, spoilers for Rocket Knight Adventure. There's nothing to spoil. Even on the final boss, you have this like extra jump, the gravity like floating kind of jump. So there's that. But usually when you want to jump high, you just have to use your jetpack thing, and that'll do it for you. So yeah. And you can dive like any specific way with that. You can go diagonal, you can go up, you can go to the right, to the left, all of those. So it's great, yeah. The movement's great, and then the sword attack is really good. So that's like the basic side-scrolling, like, gameplay kind of thing. That's cool. And then there's certain levels where it'll go to a different, like your side-scrolling shooter almost, which you just can slash your sword and it'll do like a shooter, like a slash attack. It does like a ranged, slightly ranged like slash, every time you shoot your sword. So you can use that to shoot, and you have to like dodge shit, just like in a shoot 'em up. So that's pretty cool. There's certain bosses where that's what you're doing the whole time is a shoot 'em up kind of level. So there's a lot of variety there, and then that makes it makes for good, breaks up the gameplay a little bit more, which is nice. So yeah, the gameplay is really solid. There's so many bosses in this game, and most of them are pretty tricky and challenging. Let's talk about the difficulty of the game. The game is pretty difficult, but it's a fair kind of difficulty. It's not bullshit difficulty like the final castle in Super Mario Land 2, where you're just gonna die and die and die, and there's really nothing you can do about it other than just like there's nothing you can do about it. Now that's a game that needs save states. So fucking, if I was gonna do Mario Land 2, I would play it on emulation and just save state the final castle, because fuck that place. Because there's no good checkpoints there. Rocket Knight Adventure has great checkpoints, and I like that. And there's extra lives kind of strewn everywhere. Not everywhere, but they'll put it in a place to where you can keep getting it. The extra lives respawn, so you can continue to get these extra lives. And so that kind of mitigates the whole continue system and all of that. It's nice. It's really nice. So, and there's bananas. The bananas are like a full, or not like a full heal. They're like a health, they give you back some of your hearts or whatever. So that's nice. And they give you those a lot. So that's good. Yeah. So, but anyway, the game is fairly difficult, which is to say that the difficulty is fair, and the boss fights are challenging, but you just have to keep doing them again and again and again to master them, and master the gameplay around them, so that you can move on and continue on with the game. Thus why a unlimited continue system would work better and more it would work more in sync with the game. It would synchronize with the gameplay better, and synergy or whatever. It would just be better for the game if you had that. That's just my thought. Anyway, that way you can keep retrying the same level again and again and again until you get it perfect, and then the game is less about bullshit continue systems and more about the challenge of getting through the game. But as I said, I mitigated all that by just using save states. So that's fine. So the game is good because it was challenging, so I still had to do all of the challenge. There was no easy way around it, but at least I got to keep continuing and trying where I left off from, which I think is fair and is good. And that's how the game should be. So, the challenge is good, challenging, but good and fair at the same time, which is nice. And that makes the boss fights and all of the other stuff really interesting and fun. Yeah. So yeah, that's all really good. The, let's see, what else? So yeah, the gameplay and the bosses are good. The difficulty is good and fair, but also the graphically, this is a very impressive Genesis game. Oh yeah, by the way, Konami made this game, which is fucking awesome. I guess we'll talk about the music because I wanted to say something about that. I was watching the credits and it said Tappy, which is a composer I know for music anyway, from Metal Gear Solid, the first one. He did like the theme song, I think back then, or something to that effect, or like some of the songs or something, which is awesome. So I noticed that immediately, and I'm like, well, it is Konami, so like maybe it was the same guy. It had to have been the same guy, right? So I'm like, that's cool. There's a little connection to Metal Gear Solid there. I think in Snatcher, right? Didn't they have like the Rocket Knight Sparkster, and then like Metal or Solid Snake is there, and like the Metal Gear, the little well, it wasn't a Metal Gear. Was it a Metal Gear? Yeah, it is a Metal Gear, which later becomes Metal Gear. What do you call it? The little one, Metal Gear Mark II or whatever. Yeah, that's what it's called. Metal Gear Mark II and Mark III. But yeah, anyway. So there's a scene where they're all there in Snatcher or whatnot, I think, if I remember correctly. So that's pretty cool. So yeah, Sparkster lives on. And he had other games too and stuff. Isn't that the point? Anyway, so the music, done by Tappy and a bunch of other people. There's like 5 people credited for this music, and it definitely shows because the music is like fucking incredible. It's like such a rockin' soundtrack. I don't even know how to describe it. It's just it's really excellent stuff. And it's got this like it's really impressive for Genesis, and then it's also got that Genesis style to it. You know, that twang or whatever that like everyone loves to talk about. And it just like it's so well done. I just love it. I love the music. It always puts you in the right mood. It's always action-packed and pulse-pounding, and you just want to go. Or it's like happy-go-lucky, upbeat shit. Or, you know, it's just a great soundtrack all around. And it really adds a lot to the game. And, you know, Konami is always really pretty good with their music, if anything, out of all of the things that they do. Their music's always really good and everything. So, yeah. And then graphically, for the time especially, it's a very vibrant and colorful game. It's really astounding. I remember, not that me playing it on emulation wasn't great, but I remember when I was playing it on my Genesis with my my setup, you know, like my FrameMeister and stuff, I'm like, wow, this looks really nice. It looks like so crisp and whatever, and I'm just like, Jesus Christ, this looks amazing. Like, holy shit. Like, I was like blown away by how clean it looked, you know. But that's not just a testament to the Framemeister and stuff. It is, but it also is a testament to the graphics and how well they hold up. Like, shit, you couldn't have done this shit on the like the NES or whatever. I think, you know, that's primarily where I've, you know, I'm JZNES. That's where I like get this old school thought of something that, but it looked like it could have been on PS1 or something. Like, that's how good it looked. It looked like really amazing. Like, they could have released this game with these graphics now, and people would have just been like, oh, it's just art, you know, that's the art style. It's just artistically, like, something that would release now. It looks like the indie games that get released now, is what I'm saying. Like shit, man. And they made this thing back in the 90s. Like, I don't know, what year was this? I want to know. Like, 93. Shit, this game's only 1 year older than I am. Or 1 year younger than I am, really. So yeah, fuck. I mean, like, for 93, that's just goddamn impressive. Like, really fucking good looking game. And the animations are really good. And you gotta love the personality on Sparkster. He's, like, so adorable. All the enemies are really cool. And like I said, the animations are really neat and really impressive for the time. There's a lot of little moments of him being cute and whatever. And that's just great. So I guess the audio, the little voicing of Sparkster and of the enemies and stuff, I guess, is pretty good. There's a little humor like that, you know, which is really good. Little things that are cute and humorous in the game. So it's like a really fun, like, lighthearted game. There's not really, like, a big story or anything. You're trying to save your girl. I think that's where that came from, was Sparkster. The Rocket Knight Adventures. That line from the HVGN. I'm pretty sure that's what it was from. Was, dude, save your girl. Or maybe it was from Splatterhouse. I'm not sure. But he might have said that in the Rocket Knight one too. I gotta rewatch that video. But anyway, yeah, it's just a really great platforming, like, action game, you know? I think it's really, really solid. There's really not a whole ton to say about it other than the fact that it's really good, and it's definitely a classic Genesis game, with a classic soundtrack, amazing graphics, and awesome great gameplay. The, like, one flaw is the continue system, which can be mitigated by, like, emulation and modern day conveniences and whatnot. So yeah, like, it's just a really fucking awesome game. I'm gonna give it a 9.2 out of 10. The other thing I wanted to say, out of all the Genesis games that I've played, and there haven't been that many games that I played on Genesis, but this is certainly my favorite Genesis game, and I don't know what's gonna really top that, so it's the kind of game where I'm really glad I played it. You know, I play games, and I play lots of games, and like, most of the games I've played this year have been good. They're really good games, but like, not. I think there was like one or two other ones where I'm like, you know, like, this was really good or whatever. But this was probably, definitely, so far at least, the best game that I've played this year. A new game anyway. So it, or at least it surprised me the most, or impacted me the most.
There's a lot of great NES
out
type.
of all the games that I played this year. Oh, you know what? I did play South Park 6-2. That was pretty good. Galagun and Dragon Quest 9 was alright. Alright. It was good. It was a good game. You know, like, Wolfenstein was good. Klonoa was also pretty good, but that doesn't actually count because I actually finished that last year. So yeah, I mean, I know it's a short list, but out of all the games that I played this year, this definitely takes the cake as the best one so far, reflected in my score as well. But it's the one that, like, has really surprised me and blew me away the most, and there's really virtually almost no flaws with it other than the continue system, which is just a thing you have to deal with old school games. Because everything else is just really solid about it, and I think that's really impressive for that it holds up so well, and that, like, that's just aged so gracefully. We'll see if the sequels can, like, live up to that and live up to that hype or whatnot, or even the remake can even get anywhere near that same experience there. But yeah, I really loved the game. I'm looking forward to the other ones. So until then, this has been JZNES saying keep classics, stick around for more reviews on underrated games. I'll see you guys in the next one. JZ